Good Friday, and then Easter. But a day is missing in that story. To move from Friday to Sunday, we must walk through Saturday. Saturday, however, is a lonely day. Death has won. Hope has been lost. Jesus lies in a tomb. His disciples are afraid, hiding, and deeply depressed. Everything they had invested in for the last 3 years of their life is now gone. And they forsook their master. They lost their faith. They are leaderless, hopeless, and aimless. Holy Saturday is the day we sit by the grave. It is the day to feel the gloom of the grave, to face the reality of death itself. It is a day to weep and to mourn. In fact, the second century church fasted on Holy Saturday, and they mourned and lamented on that day as they sat at the tomb, and they waited for Easter. Those of us who have spent time at graves, in my case, my father, my wife, and my child, we understand this grief, the despair of the grave. I imagine most of us have experienced that in one way or another. But I've spent most of my life running away from graves and have rarely spent much time thinking about Holy Saturday. Graves are not a place that I like to visit. It's easier to skip from Friday to Easter than to dwell on Holy Saturday. It is like, as happened in my life, skipping grief as much as possible. It's easier to run from grief. I prefer to escape rather than face it. Holy Saturday reminds me to grieve, to lament. It reminds me to rail against death, the enemy of both God and humanity. It reminds me to protest death and renew my hatred for it. It reminds me to feel again and to sit with the disciples in their despair. Indeed, to sit with the disciples in their despair is to sit with humanity in the face of death. It's to sit with those we can't sit with, who are now suffering from the coronavirus, and no one can sit with them except those who attend to them. So on Holy Saturday, we sit at the grave and we recognize our powerlessness. We cannot reverse death. We can't defeat this enemy. Holy Saturday creates a yearning for Easter. We need Easter, for without it we are dead. So on Holy Friday, Good Friday, we remember death. Holy Saturday, we sit at the grave. But on Sunday, we are renewed by the hope of the resurrection. Jesus walked that path, and we follow him. We too will have our Friday. One day we will be entombed in a grave, and by the grace and mercy of God, on that great day we will rise again to walk with Jesus upon the new heaven and new earth. That is the meaning of Good Friday, Holy Saturday, and Easter.